welcome to the Ramblings of a 42-year-old man. Chris Smith here with you today. We're just going to do a quick rambling about the kind of five comic book series of Rogue and Gambit, written by Kelly Thompson with art by Perry Perez, and we'll just talk a little bit about that. Anybody who's seen any of my MegaCon videos knows that I have a affinity for those two characters. Anybody who can see all this stuff behind me knows that I am a fan of those two, and I'll tell you how this book really capitalizes on that. So again, this was written by Kelly Thompson, and the art in here really great, done by Perry Perez. And what's awesome about it is pretty much it is the culmination of decades of back and forth between the characters of Rogue and Gambit. So, quick backstory, Rogue was introduced to the X-Men early 80s. She actually started off as a villain, but came across as a hero fairly quickly, and has been a mainstay of the X-Men ever since. And then Gambit was introduced very late 80s. Never really introduced as a villain, but he was definitely more of a roguish character. And there's been times where some of his backstory has been pretty villainous as well. But he's been a mainstay of the X-Men ever since he was introduced at the end of the 80s. And then I really got into X-Men when I was a kid in the early 90s, 90, 91, 92, around there. And that was kind of the beginning of the will they, won't they relationship between these two. I remember really enjoying the two of them on the animated series that was out at the time, really watching the two of them and the kind of back and forth that they would have throughout the first couple dozen comics of the 1991 revamp of X-Men, culminating in, I think I mentioned before, my favorite cover of all time when it comes to comic, and let's see, the comics right there, and I even got a print of it right there. I got that in the mail when I was 13 years old. Right at that right age where I really started getting interested in romantic kind of deals. But I'd already enjoyed those two characters, and that really kind of set me on the path where they were my favorite X-Men characters, period. So fast forward over 30 years, 30 years of publications, 25 anyway by the time this came out. So we're talking 2018. This book came out, and Kelly Thompson does an absolutely amazing job of pulling together all of the back and forth between those two characters over the years, all of the miscommunication or the failed dates, or the times where they almost got together but then didn't, or they wanted to get together but they couldn't, and then there was, they kissed right before the Age of Apocalypse kind of story started, and then Rogue ended up absorbing some of Gambit's memories, which is when she found out some of the evil stuff that he did in the past, and can she forgive him for those things? And then she abandons him in Antarctica pretty much to die at one point because of that, and then so that's always kind of in the back of their minds when it comes to each other. And anyway, this does an amazing job of all those little moments that they've had over the years, kind of putting them together, having them work through it, and then by the end of the book, they are pretty much officially a couple at that point, so much so that there was a issue of X-Men Gold number 30 that was supposed to be the Kitty Pryde and Colossus wedding issue, and instead, after they backed out, it became the Rogue and Gambit wedding issue, and they are now married, which led to the 10 comic book run of Mr. and Mrs. X that then ended right before the House of X Powers of 10 kind of revamp of the whole X-Men line began. They have since been on the Excalibur run of that kind of Dawn of X, kind of post Powers of X, comic continuation has gone on. That's where I am right now in my read. I have not finished up Dawn of X yet, but then I will be, and then I'll be going into like Reign of X and Destiny of X, and they just announced the kind of the Fall of X that's going to start up at the end of summer. And I'll be excited to kind of catch up through all these things, see where Rogue and Gambit end up, and so far the Krakoa Age, which is what this whole Jonathan Hickman run that began with House of X kind of goes, and I'm loving what I've been reading so far. It's been a lot of fun, and I really hope that whatever teams, Rogue and Gambit end up on, they keep giving them good stories to tell. Don't fall into the trap of, the married couple can't do anything, because I believe that you can definitely, if you have a good enough writing, you can make it work. So I hope they keep doing it, because it's been a lot of fun so far reading what they've been going through. I really enjoy the Excalibur book that they're both in currently, and of all the other post House of X books as well have been a lot of fun to read, and I'll be continuing to get through those. And hopefully eventually I'll catch up. Maybe by the time the Fall of X actually gets going in August or so, maybe I'll be caught up by that point. We'll see. Depends how fast I read. But so that's my ramble for today. Again, I've been following these two characters very much so for 30 years, and it's been really great seeing the kind of come together that they finally had after a long, long time of craziness. But that is all for today. Thank you for listening as always, and we'll ramble again soon. Thank you.